Hello everyone, this is Ketisha. In this video, I'm going to go through the AQA Physics GCSE Paper 1 higher tier. This paper is the Specimen paper, which was released in before the 2018 paper. This paper has 11 questions, so I'm going to make this video, each video will contain 2 questions. And paper 1 is tested on 4 main topics, which is on energy, electricity, particle model of matter, and the atomic structure. Question 1 is on the particle model of matter. Figure 1 shows a balloon filled with helium gas. Describe the movement of the particles in helium gas inside the balloon. Now the arrows show the direction in which the particles are actually moving inside the balloon, and you can see they are in different directions, and we can describe them as in random directions. And the size of the arrow is actually representing the size of the force or the speed at which it's moving as well. So you could say that they're moving at different speeds. So the answer, the particles have a range of speeds moving in different directions. Each of those points carries a mark here. What name is given to the total kinetic energy and potential energy of all the particles of helium gas in a balloon? Is it external energy, internal energy, or movement energy? It is called internal energy. Internal energy is the sum of the total kinetic energy and potential energy of the particles. Write the equation which links density, mass, and volume. So for this, you can use the equation sheet. You can write it as a word equation or a symbol equation. Symbol equation rho for density equals mass over volume, or you could say density equals mass divided by the volume. I would also always say try and write the word equation. Even if you make a simple spelling mistake, it will still be marked as okay. But having just 3 symbols, if you put a capital P or a capital M, then that makes it wrong. So you could lose a mark easily, where you should be gaining these marks. Question 1.4. The helium in the balloon has a mass of 0.00254 kilogram. That's the mass. The balloon has a volume of 0.0141. Calculate the density and choose the correct unit from the box. So density equals the mass divided by the volume. So the mass is 0.00254 divided by 0.0141, and that gives me an answer of 0.18. And the unit, because mass is measured in, let me use a different color, mass is measured here in kilograms, and the volume is measured in meter cube. You could say the unit is going to be kilogram per, or divided by the meter cube. The density is 0.18. The unit is kg/m3 or meter cube. Question number 2 is on the atomic structure. Scientists sometimes replace one scientific model with a different model. For example, in the early 20th century, the plum pudding model of the atom was replaced by the nuclear model of the atom. Now, these are different two models of the atom that you should know about: plum pudding model and the nuclear model. Now, explain what led to the plum pudding model of the atom being replaced by the nuclear model of the atom. Now, we represent models in order to explain certain concepts. For example, no one's actually seen the entire solar system, but we use models to explain the movement of the planets around the sun and so on. Similarly, no one's actually clearly seen the structure of an atom, so we use models in order to explain them. So why would one model be replaced by another? Main reason is, as new evidence comes from investigations or observations, then we replace old models with newer models. Now, the plum pudding model is an older model which basically came from the sphere model. Initially, atoms were thought as simple spheres, like tiny balls. And from then on, once the electrons were discovered, they realized that an atom has positive and negative charge. Now they were able to get the electrons out of the atom, which led them, and they realized that the electrons had negative charges, which led to this plum pudding model, which they said the atom overall is a positive charge, and in there you've got the electrons dotted around, which is the plum pudding model. The experiment which followed after that was actually called the gold foil experiment, which led to the nuclear model of the atom. Now, the question is asking about the evidence. Explain what led to the plum pudding model of the atom being replaced by the nuclear model. For this, you should know this. Let me show you the diagram. So on this side, you've got the setup for the gold foil experiment. So you've got the alpha source, which is a positive charge. So alpha is a positively charged helium nucleus with 2 protons and 2 neutrons. A beam of alpha particle is directed towards a gold foil. Now, a gold foil, if you look from the front or the side, there's layers of atoms, and you're letting the alpha particles go in straight lines. What was observed is that most of the alpha particles literally went through the gold foil. A few of them, in fact, literally bounced right back. Now, because of these two observations, now this diagram, the first diagram, shows the plum pudding model. If it was the plum pudding model, it should, these dots are the electrons, the negative charges. It should, if it was a solid mass, it shouldn't actually let anything go through. The nuclear model, because some of the alpha particles bounce back, they may have hit something with a positive charge, and that positive charge was the nucleus. And because most of the alpha particles went through it, the model that was developed basically suggested that the mass of the atom is mainly concentrated in the center, while most of the atom space is just empty space. And the nucleus is positively charged for another positively charged particle to be bounced off. So, for the answer, which is 6 marks, you need to describe the observation and the conclusion and link them together to explain what led to the plum pudding model being replaced by the nuclear model. Here's the answer for it. The alpha particle scattering experiment, or you could call the gold foil experiment, the observation when alpha particles, which are positively charged, were directed to a gold foil, most alpha particles passed straight through. That was the observation. The conclusion is, so most of the atom is empty space. The second observation, however, a few alpha particles deflected through large angles. The conclusion, so mass is concentrated at the center of the atom and the nucleus is positively charged. And for the final mark, you need to mention the plum pudding model has mass spread throughout the atom, and has charge spread throughout the atom as well. Whereas in the nuclear model, the mass is in the middle, and the positive charge is also in the middle, and the negatively charged electrons are spread out around it. Now, there's a different model which was used to explain the further on from the nuclear model, which is Bohr's model, which basically indicated that electrons are in different shells, as they've shown you here. Now, you don't really need to know that for this answer, but it is worthwhile understanding the sequence of models for the atomic structure. That brings us to the end of question number 2, and I will see you in the next video for question number 3 and 4.